Joining us on the broadcast is Major Muhammad Ali Shah. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, taking the time out. Now, China's muscle flexing is something that we've known about for a long time. Russia, of course, a long friend of China, it has now joined hands to conduct patrolling over the East China Sea as well as the Sea of Japan. How big of a military threat could this be as far as the Asia-Pacific region is concerned?
Oh, well, it certainly is a military threat, but at the same time, it wasn't, to be very fair, it wasn't illegal. They didn't really outreach the international boundaries, the airspace of any other country. But yes, they flew over the airspace of Japan till the part it was legitimate, till the part was legal. But Japan has expressed a concern, and rightly so, they would be concerned. Their foreign minister, Yoshima Hayashi, he said the diplomatic message, a good message has been conveyed to them about the country. And it's not the first time, let me tell you, it is the third air patrolling by Russia and China. And also last month, they had their first ever maritime patrolling as well at the South China Sea, at the Indo-Pacific, for that where Japan, very, very close to Japan. So most certainly these two, as you rightly brought out, China and Russia have joined hands together, and they are together working towards becoming a superpower and getting power hungry for that matter. So Japan has rightly expressed their concerns, and let me tell you, people are actually prepared to counter any threat coming from China. India especially is very well prepared, and let them try to mess with us. We will give them a befitting reply if need be.
Absolutely. And Major Muhammad Ali Shah, when we talk about the Asia-Pacific region, regional security has always been a very big challenge given China's belligerence. In the international sphere, if we look at it, do you think that China needs to in fact back down at some point, and the fact that China is not doing it just shows that they're unnerved by the growing global outrage?
Absolutely, you hit the nail on its head. In fact, China needs to. In fact, they need to curb their aggression right now because they are going too fast, and that is the reason. That is the main reason why the world is against China, not because of any other reason. I was having an argument the other day where somebody was saying, "So where's the harm in China becoming a superpower?" I couldn't believe somebody was actually saying that, and I said, "No, there's no harm in anyone becoming a superpower." I'll give you a small example. In a classroom, if in a class if you go in school, if someone's topping the class, it's fine. So-and-so is doing well, fine, working very hard. But someone cheats and then tries to top or use unethical measures, then there's a problem. Then everyone goes against that person, right? That's exactly how China is behaving. Look at, they are doing biological warfare. We all know what corona, from where it came from, the Wuhan virus. We all know they do psychological warfare, they do cyber warfare. Last year, 19th of June, the Australian servers were attacked in a very, very big way. Their Prime Minister, Mr. Morrison, was very magnanimous not to name the nation, but we all knew who did it. So China has been playing very, very smart, and they need to really curb down right now, because that is why the world is getting against China. And the best way to actually deal with them is to hit the dragon where it hurts the most, and that is the economy, Bharati.
All right, so Major Muhammad Ali Shah, let's say that we do want to, talk about China's economy, or rather hit them where it hurts the most, like you just said. But it is a known fact that China's economy is currently not doing as well as it might want to portray, given the fact that its real estate market is in shambles. We saw the coal crisis that took place in China. There were houses that were out of electricity for the longest time. The only thing that China seems to be going for it right now is the fact that its military presence is so dominant that no other country, at least for now, in the Asian region at least, can stand up to them.
Right, and I will tell you why that happens, Bharati. Because see, many of us, we invest money in the share market, stock market, right? Many of us unknowingly, see, China has done a lot of invisible invasion, technically and technologically also, which we do not realize. Like many of us, we will invest our money in the Russian stock exchange, for example. And now that money that goes into Russian stock exchange ultimately is going to the Chinese government, which is being used by the military. So we are not realizing the money that we are investing in the Russian stock exchange is actually we are promoting the Chinese military that way, and we are promoting them. We do not realize that. Chinese apps, if we order something from Big Basket, if we order an Ola Uber cab, they all have Chinese stake somewhere. So yes, Chinese economy is not doing, their economy is in shambles. They are fighting corona in a way, yes. But then at the end of the day, why is their military presence being strong? Now let me tell you, their military also has their own limitations. Like for example, geographically, if you see tactfully, if you see in a military way at the Indo-Tibet border, the altitude in China is such that when the Air Force aircraft of China take off, they cannot contain a full tank of fuel. So they only take off with half payload of fuel. So but obvious, their sortie time will be reduced. So they cannot fly the full sortie. It's like driving from Delhi to Udaipur, for example, and you don't have a tank full in your car. So you'll have to stop by. You'll have limited way to drive. Same way. So now we can take a big advantage of them. Now Chinese generals have actually documented and written and praised the bravery and the high altitude training and warfare of the Indian army. They are not as battle hardy as us. Yes, they are technically sound, no doubt. I will not deny them. I'll give the devil its due. But as per soldiering is concerned, there are videos of Chinese army actually crying when they have to face the Indian army. There are videos on YouTube, in fact. There are videos on the border when there has been a standoff or a face-off between the Indian army and the Chinese army. And because there's no demarcated line, right? So Chinese say, those are our land, we say it's our land. And that argument goes on. Now, China will continue doing, they are trying Islamic slicing, which is entering our country directly, like what we did in Bangladesh in 1971. And for the liberation of Bangladesh, we did it with a good intention. But China has been doing, they tried that stunt with Nepal in Hamla district last year, where they entered and they constructed pillar number 11 and 12 illegally, which is 70 kilometers from our land, from Pithoragarh. They tried that just 2 days back in Bhutan as well. The entire Chicken Neck area, Doklam Valley. And Doklam is an area of very, very strategic importance. It's got a plateau and a valley. And that area covers the Chicken Neck, which means it connects the Indian boundary with the northeast boundary. So obviously that is a connection. And that is why it is very, very important to us. It's strategically important to China. I'll tell you how. Not to China basically, but because it is of important to us. So if it is giving an advantage to the enemy, it would be disadvantage to us. That is the only reason. Now China's aggression has to be curbed, as you rightly brought out, Pradeep, because if it is not stopped now, it will be too late. And China, to be very honest, I would see China in a few years actually going ahead and becoming a superpower. I hope they do not. I really hope they do not. But it needs to be stopped. As you say, the economy, we have to hit the dragon where it hurts. Because ultimately, even the Russian stock exchange money will get into Chinese military there, and they will use that against us.
Absolutely. Major Mohammad Ali